This is Carl Munson of Expats Portugal, and this is number 4 of 1,000 things to enjoy in Portugal. Behold the Peneda-Gerês National Park, Portugal's northern gateway to and from Spain, often known simply as Gerês. This, the only national park in Portugal, is located in the Viana do Castelo, Braga and Vila Real districts and is treasured and protected for its pristine air, lush vegetation, stunning scenery and dramatic waterfalls. Home of the rare Iberian wolf and an impressive array of 235 vertebrate species, of which 200 are threatened or under protection, Gerês is a hugely important natural sanctuary. Trek along the Homem River Valley among wild ponies grazing amid the ancient granite landscape and enjoy Portugal at its timeless best. Hola, bon dia. Carl Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show from expatsportugal.com. And I think I got a thumbs up there for me, Peneda-Gerês. The 4th of my features on 1,000 things to enjoy in Portugal, which seems a little weird this morning, doesn't it? I think I could summarize the show today. We could save ourselves a whole lot of time and maybe go back to bed and keep warm because really the weather is cold. The news is that the world's gone crazy, and the expat update is that Portugal is still a fantastic place to live, in my experience anyway. So how are you doing this morning? Really, I mean, am I alone in staying up late? I'm being tired because I stayed up late, but also because I was rubbing my eyes so much. My eyes are sore because I'm tired, but they're also sore because I was rubbing them in disbelief. What went on? Do we want to talk about what went on in Washington, D.C. Yesterday? And the possible effect it may have on the world, on world consciousness, on how we see America. And of course, the reason I mention it, and I think it's worth talking about here on the Good Morning Portugal show, is because so many of the people who watch this live, and obviously maybe watch it later, because many of you Americans are still in bed right now, having sweeter dreams or possibly nightmares if you watched too much telly yesterday. We have a big American audience, so it seems only right for us to maybe reflect on what happened and consider what the implications might be. And I'd be very glad to hear your opinions. If you need to offload in the comments, if I think that can be helpful. Part of what we do here, I think, is we have a wonderful community, and I think it's good to talk. I know it's a cliche, but it is good to talk. So if there's anything you do want to get off your chest about what you saw happening in America, whether that's sped up your plans for coming to Portugal as an American person, or you're a Brit in watching, just recovering from Brexit, and you're seeing supposedly one of the big allies of Britain's future in such turmoil. What do you think? And what do Portuguese people? I know Portuguese people watch. Joel will be here in just a moment. I know Hank's tuned in already. What do you make of this? Tell us more. Let's talk this morning and find out what's going on. So we'll have a look at the weather. We can have a look at the Portugal resident as well, see what the news stories are. I did have a quick look, and there's not that much to talk about. And what happened in Washington, D.C. has cast quite a shadow, I think, over the popular consciousness as we figure out what will happen next. So let's have a look at that weather. Actually, no, before we do that, let's go to your comments, because that's what this is all about, really. And good morning to you, Gemini Bradshaw. Hello, nice to see you here this morning. Good morning all from Gemini. Hank is early in. Good morning, guys, from Hank, who got some good value yesterday, I think, from our Ask Anything About Portugal feature that we will do on a Wednesday regularly. Thursday's programming is Places and Spaces of Portugal, where we celebrate various parts of Portugal. And I don't know if it seems a little bit, yes, it's a great distraction, or it's too much of a distraction right now. There are important things to think about. So I'll leave that in your hands. Tell me what you think. If you would like to sing the praises of Peneda-Gerês, as you may have seen as you tuned in this morning as our opening piece, let me know what you love about Gerês or any other part of Portugal when it comes to places and spaces of Portugal, and the places and spaces that should be on our 1,000 things to enjoy in Portugal. So I would really love to hear from you if you don't feel that that's a little bit trite and irrelevant this morning, or maybe it's really relevant. Maybe it is, as I say, the distraction we're looking for and that we need right now. Good morning to you, Hank, and Embalages Ramadan. Good morning to you. How are you? Hank is saying from a survivor of the Trump push to Puch 2021. I don't know what that means, but I think it's probably coup, isn't it? Or attempted overthrow or whatever. Effort, perhaps. Nick Steinman's here. Hola, bon dia. Good morning to you, Nick. How are you this morning? Bon dia, 5 degrees. Cascais this morning, but better today than yesterday. That's what I'm saying, Anna. I mean, I can summarize the weather basically as cold, but we will have a bit of a deeper delve. Actually, we're talking of places and spaces. Let's have a little bit of a weather tour around Portugal in just a moment, see what it's like for those of you who are eyeing up Portugal as a possible place to live and you'd like to hear about the weather in some of the less talked about parts of Portugal. It is freezing in the Algarve. It's all relative, Gemini, isn't it? I mean, is it literally freezing in the Algarve, or is it you're so spoiled and used to lovely weather down there that 2 degrees is the new freezing? Let me know, Gemini. Hola, bon dia from a very frozen Prestatyn this morning. Now that's cold. That's cold, that is, in North Wales there. It all started at 8:30 p.m. last night. Yeah, and from America, live from America this morning, Lauren, and Andrew, possibly as well, tuned in this morning from the crazy US. And, you know, I think that's something we could perhaps bear in mind, is that we know you're not all crazy. Okay. This is the problem, isn't it, with the news media, with rolling news, is that if you can play bits of footage over and over again and create an impression that the whole world is going mad and that one particular country is going crazy. I know you're not all bonkers, but we still need to respond and understand this, don't we, as well as what happened over there. So good morning to you, Lauren. Lovely to hear from you. How do you feel about it all? Can you give us your details, phone number, email? Ooh, I say, it's a bit forward, isn't it? But emballage, my phone number, I think, is on our website. I am a bit too liberal with my WhatsApp number, given some of the crazy requests I get. Email simply carl@expatsportugal.com if you want to get in touch. Please do. The coup failed. Oh, I see some lovely news from Will coming up. We'll come right back to that after the weather. How wonderful. And talk about the D7 visa. Okay, very good. We've got some lovely things to talk about in the comments after we've had a look at the weather. Come back to all of that loveliness in just a moment. And yeah, Hank saying there, the coup failed. It was a strange coup, wasn't it? It was like, you know, lots of quite bonkers looking people storming into a building, presumably not expecting to be there, and trying it was like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, wasn't it? Oh, I'll try this chair. Oh, that's a bit too small. I'll try this chair. That's a bit too big. I'll try this chair. Well, this feels all right. I'll take a selfie of me here. And of course, yeah, I mean, not to make too much fun of it, because somebody lost their life as well, I understand, in that dreadful melee there yesterday afternoon. So what do you think? What do you make of it? It's one of those. It is one of those mornings, isn't it? It is one of those what just happened mornings, and I guess it's for us. You know, it's a bit first world, isn't it? Is, you know, clearly the world hasn't just gone mad. It's always been mad. Yet more of us are experiencing that madness. And the big question, of course, is what are we going to do about it? So let's have a look at this weather. And as I say, we're going to look at some of the parts because it's places and spaces. Thursday. Some of the more far-flung, less talked about parts of Portugal that you may not have even heard of. Some of you tuned in this morning, but the principal points of Portugal. Let's have a look. I think this is perhaps a little bit optimistic here. 7 degrees, clear sky in Lisbon at the moment, but it's going to be cloudy for the rest of the weekend and including the weekend. A high of 10 today, but a low of 5 for the next couple of days, and then a low of 2 for the weekend. So a chilly weekend coming up in Lisbon. There are your Fahrenheits there, folks, in America. I really do appreciate, I should say I appreciate you Americans tuning in. This what must be an ungodly hour for you, but maybe you've been up all night watching your TVs anyway. 3 degrees, clear sky in Porto, a high of 10 today. A sunny day to look forward to in Porto. Beautiful Portuguese blue sky, if not the temperatures we would ideally like. But 9 degrees and cloudy tomorrow, and a sunny start to the weekend. So higher temperatures in the north, as it turns out, than in the capital for the coming weekend. And it's 0 degrees, the lowest temperature for today, Thursday, the 7th of January in Coimbra, in the Coimbra district. 3 degrees and a few clouds. And it's, yes, this is my part of the country. This is the weather I can most identify with. 0 tomorrow, 1 degree on Saturday, 1 degree on Sunday, and -1 forecast for Monday and Tuesday. Faro, how's it down there? Freezing, says Gemini. Rain forecast today as well. Cloudy, 8 degrees, high of 11, high of 10 tomorrow. The rain persists tomorrow, and a cloudy weekend by the look of it, with maybe a bit of sun on Sunday. So these are the districts. Shout if you want me to stop at any of these, or if you want me to focus on them tomorrow morning. Aveiro, Beja, there in the Alentejo. Similar picture though, nowhere going above 10 degrees at the moment. So still thermals at the ready. Castelo Branco -1 lowest at the moment, and a -2 I see in Évora. In the Alentejo for the weekend, temperature of -2. So be careful over there in the Alentejo, -2 forecast. And I know some of you North Americans are laughing as well. Paltry -2, what you're moaning about. Yeah, I know. Viseur -2 today, lowest. And Bragança, look at that, -3, -5 in Guarda. Be very careful over there, friends, over in that part of the country, Guarda. -5. You have to be a hardy Portuguese person. So yeah, that's the coldest at the moment. Guarda -5, and that looking to continue even next week. -6 forecast on Monday. Good heavens, this is Filomena, not the Filomena that we have occasionally on a Friday, but this is weather phenomenon Filomena, isn't it? That's causing all this malarkey at the moment. Porto Alegre 0 today, lowest temperature, and yeah, Viana do Castelo that I mentioned there in the Gerês update. 10 degrees the high, but nowhere going over 10, and some places going down to -5 in the next few days over here in Portugal. The autonomous regions in the islands there, in the Azores, above 10 in the islands, benefiting from the Atlantic effect. 13 the high in the Azores, and 14 tomorrow, and 16 to look forward to next week. That's rather good, isn't it? And 15 degrees in Madeira today, the high, with a low of 3. A little bit rainy, though, as far as the eye can see, for the next week or so in Madeira. So there you go. That's a really, really comprehensive look at the weather around Portugal. Have a little sip of my tea for a moment. Hold on, bear with me. As we continue now and reflect on what's going on in the United States, what repercussions that might have for us. I've already given out my phone number and email. Biden-Harris electoral votes were just certified about 9 minutes ago. Like, is it normal in America to keep congratulating the new president and vice president? Because I've heard it so many times now. And congratulations on their victory. A few days ago. And congratulations. So is this it now? Is this actually I suppose it's not, is it? It's the inauguration that's the next big moment. It looks like the sort of rigmarole and shenanigans of disputing the process, the voting process are behind us. Are they? I don't know. You please tell us, Americans. And the next thing to look forward to, the world will be watching, right, or much of it, to see how and if Donald Trump leaves the White House or not. So is that the kind of planner ahead of us? Please let me know, American viewers and friends here to this morning. Is there anyone to give us information about the D7 visa? Yes, tonight, of course, is the Ask Our Expats night. A bit of a free-for-all, a bit like yesterday morning. Ask anything you want about Portugal. That's what we're all about at Expats Portugal, is helping people have a great life in Portugal, whether they are here already or whether they're planning to be here. We have recorded webinars on the D7 visa, and we have those available on our YouTube channel. So do Embalages ER. Please go to our YouTube channel, subscribe there, and have a look. I think probably one of our most popular videos is about the D7 visa, which, of course, I noticed in the Portugal resident. Let's have a quick look at this. That is now the process for Brits wanting to come to Portugal. A very interesting splash as their leading story this morning. And Portugal residency for Brits. Portugal's doors are wide open to Brits seeking EU residency. And this is Natasha Don, our favourite, well, my favourite writer, writing in my favourite news source in Portugal in English, Portugal resident. Contrary to all the post-Brexit scaremongering, including high-profile stories of Brits being blocked from travelling back to homes in Southern Europe, Portugal remains wide open to citizens of its oldest ally. Yes, going back to the 14th century, Treaty of Windsor, still offering residencies to those seeking to live outside UK, even when they want to bring their extended family with them, even when they want to do that. And you have visions, don't you, of like 27 people at the airport. I've brought my extended family with me. Is that all right? Yeah, come on. But the funny thing about this article is the last paragraph. That they go into like, how the Brits will need to do a D7 now. Notice there how I said the Brits, like distancing myself as someone with residency now. It's weird, isn't it? How one's mind and position changes in the course of history. That said, says this last paragraph, we're in an era where rules change from day to day and are often very incorrectly reported. Perhaps the message of this week's cover story is that there will always be a way for Brits to live in Portugal. It's just a question of finding the right scheme and getting the right advice. That's such an interesting caveat. But I think that is, that's kind of like phrase of the day, if not phrase of the year so far. That said, we're in an era where rules change from day to day. Perhaps we should get used to it. Oh, my goodness. Valerie, good morning to you. And thank you for your message. Somebody's already taken Valerie up. Just mention Munson and you get a coffee. But no property tire kickers, all right? You've got to go to Valerie on legitimate business looking for property on the Silver Coast, not just for... It's a long way to go for a free coffee. All right? If you need a coffee that badly, I'll PayPal you €1. Okay, so just serious property buyers only. But somebody's taken Valerie up on her offer. If you mention my name, she'll buy you a coffee and show you a few properties. Gorgeous day here in San Martino, she says. And I'm glad you're making friends as well, Valerie. Sun shining gloriously. Water is marvelous looking and shimmering beautifully. You see, there you go. I did say in my Gerês report, the timeless wonder of Portugal. We still have that, folks. Okay, and some of you are preparing to be here to enjoy that. The world may have gone crazy, and my view, as I think you probably know by now, is that it always was. It's nothing new about that, really. It's just the intensity now. But nature, the real world, the beauty of nature, is ever present and evident here in Portugal. And I'm so glad to be here on that basis. That's what I remind myself about in these crazy times. Bom dia from Joel in Porto, who I know will have something to say about what happened in Washington, D.C. Bom dia, Carl. E tudo a gente. So, yeah, good morning to Carl and all the people. Very good, Penny. Penny, of course, with us tonight in the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. We have an Alentejano Red. It's a bit of a slow start, it has to be said, to proceedings of the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. We've got a 2020 hangover, nothing to do with wine, just because of the year it was. And we're easing ourselves gently under the leadership of Neil Perkins, Mr. Alentejano himself, whose cousin won Portugal's The Voice, I believe. I hope I've got that right. Obviously, the Voice competition happens as a franchise all over the world. It recently crowned a winner in Portugal, and it's related to the Perkins household. So tune in tonight. I wish congratulations through the Perkins connection tonight on the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club, where we look at an Alentejano Red. Grab yourself any bottle of booze or non-alcoholic, because Penny's having a dry January. She's joining us anyway with a recommendation of a non-alcoholic beverage in case you're looking for such recommendations yourself and having a dry January. But we'll be on from 9 tonight with the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. That's after our webinar tonight with Expats Portugal webinars, our series of Ask Our Expats. Quite a few of the team turning up tonight if you want to call on their knowledge, free of charge. Bon dia from Moscow. Good morning. What's the temperature in Moscow? Please tell us, Carolyn. Lovely to hear from you. Cindy Green, yesterday was so painful for us. We pray for healing. Yeah. And I know in many ways, I've made light of it a bit this morning. I acknowledged, how grim it is as well. That's another thing about where we're at the moment, right? At 1 minute, we could be laughing at the ridiculousness of things in the world and then feeling the pain of it another. And I can see that's the case for you, Cindy, here, as you say, and you pray for healing. With you on that. Matt Ev, as in, I wonder if his brother is called What Ev. And they're two of them together are the whatevs. That doesn't really work. Anyway, bon dia from Matt Ev or Matt EV. Great to hear from you, Matt. How are you this morning? 2021 is not starting the best way. We strongly need to make it better, says Anna. Here we go. We're in a therapy, everybody. Okay, this is Good Morning Portugal show therapy, and you're welcome. I'm not making light of that. seriously, this is a place to get things off your chest among friends. Okay, so we strongly need to make it better. Never thought it could happen. Lots of friends from the US, and they were destroyed, incredulous and very, very sad. Can totally understand that, Anna. Yeah, rubbing my eyes myself watching the TV yesterday, because I tuned in to hear what Donald Trump was going to say in his address to people who were gathering. The 12th night, a serious Epiphany Day, of course, in Portugal yesterday. And I was looking for whether I would be getting an epiphany or if Donald had had one himself when he addressed people in Washington. And then as the day went on, it slowly unfolded into what we saw and what we're still recovering from. So lots of love to you and your friends, Cindy and Anna there, expressing your feelings about what you're seeing in America. Good morning, Carl. Baby Isaac was born last night. Mum and baby doing great. Now that's always beautiful news, isn't it? New baby into the world. Hospital staff were lovely and supportive to my daughter at Castelo Branco. And what a funny time to be going anywhere near a hospital. I'm so glad to hear that went well. And welcome to the world, little baby Isaac. Oh, I'm welling up a bit saying that. But this is special. Baby Isaac is here, folks. And great to hear that last night, mum and baby, Isaac was born last night and mum and baby are doing great. Fantastic. And thank you, lovely hospital staff at Castelo Branco. Some of the unsung heroes of our time, of course, the hospital workers. More good news. You see, in among all of this craziness is beautiful news. Baby Isaac has joined us in the world. And I met a girl, says Will Thompson. Woo! Will and the girl sitting in a tree doing what they shouldn't be with any luck. So good for you, Will. I'm so glad to hear that. Could you tell us more? Have been up most of the night following what's going on in the US. Horrifying. At least Biden and Harris have finally been confirmed. And my goodness, they've got a job of work to do, haven't they, when they get in is it the 20th? And inaugurated. I mean, it's a bit like, it's a bit like Boris, isn't it, in the UK? It's like his dream of being prime minister, and then the situation he inherited, like a poison chalice, I guess. And it's the same thing in America, isn't it? Who in many ways would want to inherit the situation currently, but Biden and Harris will be stepping up to that, of course. Hank saying hi, Lauren, loving this. There's a lot more chat across the community in the comments, so I have to be careful what I read out now in case there are any proposals there or whatever. I think, or maybe if there are proposals in there, I will be reading them out, rest assured. I think I have been teleported back to Canada. It is cold, beautiful, but cold. Oh, so you've spent time in Canada, in Canada, Valerie. Yeah, I think at this time of year, Portugal probably is a lot like Canada. And I know Canadians will be laughing. No, it's not minus 200 or anything like that. But it's chilly and it's beautiful, which is not a bad little summation of Canada at some times of year. Yes, says Joel. Yes, they are. I don't know what that's the response to, but Biden and Harris possibly. But enjoying sharing your comments here. A bit of therapy this morning as we get to grips with what's going on. Loads of fabulous comments here and some serious ones as well. So I'll do my. I am way behind the comments. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, right? Okay. I'm used to central heating in a warm house, referring to the freezing situation in the Algarve. All relative. Paulo Simões, good morning. To you, Paolo, as well. Richard D, an American here, can't wait to move to Portugal. Now, I suspected that might be the situation for a lot of Americans tuned in this morning. Just glad to be moving here and progressing those plans. Is Carl getting lucky again? Yeah, I'm giving out my phone number again. And oh yes, talking of which, I am going through I'm so sorry to you YouTube people who've been making comments, and they've all been held in their own comment quarantine for the last 2 months. I just thought I was Billy No Mates on YouTube. There are hundreds of comments, literally. And yeah, there are a lot of improper suggestions, and that's why they were quarantined. But a lot of really good stuff has been hidden in there. So please don't think me rude if you've been making comments and it looks like I've been ignoring them. I mean, I have, but only because I didn't know they were there. So I'll do my best to get back to all of you, because I really appreciate that when you reach out on YouTube. I owe everyone a room in the beer when I arrive. Carl has me contractually obligated. Yeah, they got me a good lawyer, Hank. I haven't actually. But Yes, we're looking forward to that moment. It's just a gentleman's agreement, and that still stands for a lot in Portugal. 4 people, though, not 1 person, but 4 people. Goodness gracious! Yeah, I guess it's the morning after when the full implications and impact are unfolding, and we're making sense of it. That's terrible. Carl, I'm concerned about people losing their jobs, having mortgages to pay, and family to look after. Me too, Gemini. It's been the case, right from the start here. That's in the post, isn't it? And like I've also said from the beginning, we got to look after each other in this situation, and perhaps this is the test for us to do that. It's gonna get serious. It's been a terrible year, and the implications of it are coming our way, and it's our test, I think, the making of us possibly to step up and look after each other correctly, properly, and make it work out. If we can't trust the big wheels of democracy and politics, it's going to come down to a local level where we'll be looking after each other. None of it is real. Yesterday I was discussing the Templar Knights and Rostin Chapel and the oldest enemy, the Cabal. The guy was not agreeable on my thoughts, went outside on the floor, was a seal of the Templar Knights, that cross thing. Yeah, I asked the aliens for a sign. Will, is your girl an alien? They sent me a really cool outspoken lass on a skateboard. Yes, she might be. All true. Therefore, all of this must become a dream. It must be a dream. Okay. Well, I'm so glad to hear about your new lady friend, and I do hope she's real. I honestly do. Richard, I think she is. We can make from that. And she arrived on a skateboard, very eco. What we saw in America is what happens when you don't teach critical thinking skills in schools or at home, says Richard. Kathleen, hi Kathleen, good morning to you. Nothing complicated to understand. Donald Trump incited a riot and 3 people died. It's a stain on the country of my birth, says Kathleen. The whole world's a stage with good actors and bad actors, says Owen. Gary's here. Good morning, Gary, and good morning to you, Owen. I think we will be seeing more of this sort of thing around the world as dissatisfaction, poverty, inequality, and frustration take hold in a scared, frightened, uncertain atmosphere. I fear that you might be right there, Gary. And like I say, that's where we step up, right? Those of us who imagine ourselves to be the good actors, it's time to act, right? And do stuff to come to the aid of our brothers and sisters who are having a worse time of it, surely. And clearly, I mean, one of the lessons is it can't be left to the politicians entirely and to the scale that we have been leaving it to them. One, because they are incompetent often, and as we can see, and the other is the system doesn't really work. So why do we keep expecting it to? Bon dia from Peneda-Gerês. See how I snuck that in there? Leiria, more frost and blue skies here, castle, forest, and seaside. What more can you ask for? And this is the sort of balance we love as well. Yes, we can cope with it here on Good Morning Portugal. The best of times and the worst of times, and some pretty good times to be had in Peneda-Gerês there. Well done, Andrew, for sharing that. And please do, if you're having a great time today and you want to celebrate your beauty, your good luck and good fortune, like Will's doing this morning, and say what you love about the places and spaces of Portugal or any aspect of Portuguese life, say it. Please do, because we absolutely need that sort of balance. -2 in the UK, hard frost this morning. My mouse hand is really cold this morning. Hopefully we'll make it through the show. It doesn't freeze up. 10 degrees. That's freezing in the Algarve, everybody. 10 degrees in Faro. Isn't there a video talk still on the Expats Portugal FB page on the D7 you can look back on? Absolutely. I have it saved and need to review again. And we'll do it. We're going to talk to Gilda and her team more. That's all scheduled for this year, because the D7 obviously will have more customers coming from Britain. Hank, about 7 degrees in California. Fantastic. Good morning to California. And California Soul, one of my favorite tunes ever. And that completely conveys all that's good and great about human life and love, I think, with the beautiful Marvin and Tammy singing to each other, those Motown sweethearts. We just moved from the States 1 week ago. When friends asked why, since Biden won, I said, this is not over. Sadly, I was right, says Nancy Whiteman. Good morning to you, Nancy. Yeah, a good call then from your point of view. How are you settling in? I think most of us aren't surprised that something happened yesterday, but I was surprised at how unprepared the capital was for it. Yeah, I mean, how on earth did that happen? Really? you know, how was it that the capital was so easy to storm like that? Quite incredible. And yet Hank is agreeing with you, Nancy. Get zapped. The people who broke into the capital were Antifa. Washington Times is reporting. Yeah, and in this age of not knowing who and what to trust, some people were already saying, weren't they, some sort of double bluff. It was people dressed up as Trump fans. Oh, my goodness. And that's a big rabbit hole to get down. Here in the Chicago area, getting above freezing is seen as a heat wave and time to break out the sandals and Hawaiian shirts. Sounds like Manchester. Thank you, Cindy, for that. Lol, sure, says Hank. I stand corrected. 4 people died. Shameful behavior and irresponsible rhetoric from the president responsible. And, you know, you might think, mightn't you? I like to think of myself as quite an open-minded person and give people the benefit of the doubt. This was his moment, wasn't it? If it's true what's being said about him, that he is some sort of, you know, underneath it all, some incredible person and a savior and a knight in shining armor, that yesterday was the moment to reveal that. And sadly, it didn't happen yesterday, or as far as I'm aware anyway. They were able to use facial recognition software and found out they were Antifa protesters who have been identified at past rallies. Good heavens. And you say that's the Washington Post reporting that? That's an interesting twist as well, is it not? This was expected from America. If civil war doesn't happen, for sure, more riots from the Proud Boys. Get zapped. That isn't a reliable source. Okay, from Jim McPherson. You were getting into the long grass now, aren't we? Right, Antifa carrying Trump flags. Sure. Getting back to what I said about a lack of critical thinking, says Richard D. I did ask, and look, it's happening. Nothing is viable, says Get Zapped. Take it with a grain of salt. A lot of crosstalk in both senses of the word in the comments. So I'm not going to read all of that out because we'll be here all morning, and I think you're talking to each other. So I'm going to cherry pick in a Fundau kind of way comments. Even look, a Trump was robbed. People still thinking that. The current occupant of the White House has conceded, though of course without grace, says Nancy. Good morning to you, Mark Rigby, up there in the north of Portugal, some way up towards Peneda-Gerês, but not as far as that. Currently a resident and 0 degrees in Póvoa de Varzim. The problem with delusion is not only treating a lie as truth, but also treating the truth as a lie. So the silent majority treating truth as truth are viewed as being permanently in error. It's where we've got, isn't it? You can see this in the US, where anyone advocating a caring society is labeled a communist. In the UK, those advocating the benefits of the EU and costs of Brexit are dismissed as irrelevant, being labeled as Ramonas, all part of unrestrained egotism. Thank you, Mark, for that learned comment. I think that's absolutely right for me anyway. That is a fantastic observation, and in a way it's a sort of mirror of democracy as we practice and know it at the moment, where half the people are obliged to be unhappy on account of the other half winning by 1%. We do need a better system, right? I think we can all agree on that. Is that not true to say? We do need better systems. Thank you, Mark. Yes, it's normal to congratulate the new president of the United States and the loser to graciously concede. That's what I've used to in my childhood. It does seem like a bit of a pantomime as well, that because it's not necessarily authentic or genuine. It's a sort of a ritual, isn't it? But certainly Trump hasn't stepped up to that level of role play. The only thing Trump was robbed of is decency and humility. Cut the nonsense, says Richard D. So look, yeah, you opened up a Pandora's box by killing somebody. Oh, I see. I thought I was opening up a Pandora's box by asking people what they thought about what had gone in Washington. I'm not sure who that's aimed at. Get zapped. They had a few incidents in the House of Commons in the past, mainly from MPs, though, like the time Dennis Skinner, the beast of Bolsover, got stuck in with a bit of a punch-up and a bit of mace waving. What a hero. And you have to say, don't you, that on the one hand as well, these occasional outbursts and challenges are quite a good sign in a way, because they are showing how people really feel in a system that as they feel has failed them, which I think Dennis Skinner was doing. Not a big fan of the system in which he operates, I don't suppose, and still does, I believe. I mean, he is a hero, a check and balance on British democracy. How effective he's been, I don't know. Probably in the same sort of way that Mark was talking about. Polarization. When are we going to get over that? When are we going to get over that? So the conversation like no other we've ever had on the Good Morning Portugal show is happening in the comments, and I can't possibly read it all out. But it's a little microcosm, is it not, of American life? There in the comments, polarization again. So I'll come back to that. I mean, I'm not avoiding it, but I can't read out every comment of everybody having a go at everybody. What I'm more interested in is what your solutions are, right? That expression, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And nobody better exemplifies that possibly than Donald Trump. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And that is a real problem in the world at the moment, is it not? Is that people would rather be right and all its consequences than be happy and see that their fellow human beings are happy. That's why I think we need a new system, or we need a higher, I think, as well as, who is it? Richard D saying we need critical thinking. I think we need a sort of higher consciousness as well, don't we? Thinking's one thing, and you could argue that thinking just gets us into deeper and deeper unhappiness and misery as well, with our critical thinking. And I understand what you mean. I think it's good to resort to logic, absolutely. But we do need a higher consciousness as well, I think, which we're struggling to find at the moment. Are there any? Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt, for this. Are there any areas of Portugal that are cooler in the summer? I would like to start a more rural lifestyle on a small farm setup. Guarda, I think you need to go north in Portugal, quite frankly. And that you can see from this morning, although it'll be cooler in the summer, it's looking at -6 as a low at the moment, Matt. Have 2 houses, right? Go to the freezing Algarve possibly in the winter, and then your small holding up in Guarda, or that the more north, the upper third of Portugal. But it can still get hot in the summer in the north, because of the inland effect and the lack of the cooling breeze of the Atlantic. But Guarda, as from my observation, has some of the coolest, and Trás-os-Montes beyond the mountains, pretty chilly too, and up in the mountains, of course. Okay, so the Americans still going at it in the comments, in a funny sort of way. This is your chance, America, to show in this microcosm of the comments that there is a way beyond polarization. And I will be keeping an eye on you in there. Let's see what happens this morning. Andrew Paul Thompson, Black Labrador in the road here in Marinha Grande with no sense. Black Lives. Oh dear, Andrew. I know that's a funny that's coming in, but with things the way they are, that thank you for that. When you're chucking a lol in there as well. Hola, bon dia. Here she is. Weather phenomenon Philomena. There are 2 Philomenas in the news at the moment. This one, hola, bon dia. I popped into your town quite by accident just recently. I saw your shop, Philomena. You weren't there, of course. I think you're busy enjoying your Christmas. But it was lovely to put it into perspective and visit your lovely town. Cold and damp and dark as it was by the time I got there. But lovely to see your context, and good morning to you. Hola, bon dia to you as well, Philomena. Get Zap says, do not pay your taxes, grow your own food, do not buy their products, do not pay debts or bills or anything. That's quite a high risk strategy. People do get a bit eggy when you don't pay them what you owe them. Get zapped. Nothing justifies a violent attack on the US Congress. Yeah, fair play. Catherine Nichols, good morning. What is the best way to get your comments, questions answered? It's 4:15 a.m. my time, USA. So I get up early to participate. The best way to get your comments. What's your question, Catherine? I will do my best. And if I can't answer it this morning, I'll take that with me. Because someone did resort to calling me some bad names. And it was this comment quarantine thing. My comments in YouTube were in lockdown. I hadn't seen them. And someone said, I'm going to give you a second warning. You're an a-hole for not answering. I was like, okay, easy, Tiger. What's your question? Let's calm down, shall we? And I will answer your questions. And I will answer you. I don't think it was you, Catherine. That doesn't sound like your sort of language, but it can get a bit fresh, can't it? On YouTube and Twitter, unless you get banned, which I haven't been. Hold on. So I am assessing the comments. There was a time where I would just read every single one out, but the volume and also appropriateness are things I have to consider as well. But Catherine Nichols, do get your question to me. And if I can't answer it now, if we can't answer it together here, we will take it away and come back to you on that. And email me, absolutely, Carl at expatsportugal.com. or even hire me as one of the Ask Our Expats team. We do Skypes and so on with people, and there's a great team of consultants who you can hire for the hour or to get them to do work for you this side of the water. Good morning, Julia Centameri in Italy, possibly, maybe in Portugal this morning. How are you, Julia? Feliz Anno Novo. To you, not been able to say that to you so far. Michael Hesseltine, that swung the mace with his Tarzan Barnet. A far better and pragmatic conservative than the corrupt bunch that make up the UK government. Yes, they don't make conservatives like they used to. Kathleen, thankfully, it's a gorgeous morning in Selanova. I'm so glad to hear that, Kathleen. Isn't it nice to be distracted at looking out the window over a beautiful vista? It's right. Basically, it goes votes, electoral. Oh, okay, thank you. Going back to the question I asked some time ago, it's nearly 1:15 already. Basically, it goes votes, electoral votes by state, electoral vote certification by Congress. So that was yesterday. Formal inauguration on January the 20th. Lol, historically, the electoral vote certification has been a humble and uneventful affair until yesterday. Absolutely. Gary, with you on Dennis. Yeah, this is the Dennis Skinner Appreciation Society. Americans, look him up. That's the sort of politician you need over there. How do you participate in the live stream? What, you want to come on the screen, Catherine? I'll give you a link to do that. But I think we're running out of time this morning. So carl@expatsportugal.com. Get in touch with me with that way, and we will get you on the screen to ask a question. And this lack of understanding presents a significant challenge when it comes to responding to the COVID crisis. People who have had coronavirus are truly baffled as to how they managed to catch it because they wore a mask, distance, and followed official guidelines. This is not a problem of ignorance or denial, but a lack of education. And that, like so much else during this pandemic, is the fault of the government. You know what, Will? I mean, I understand that, but we do have part of, I think, our rise in consciousness is to stop finding people to blame, or to equally, see what the influences are and where we might have been let down by those who we've elected to support us, perhaps. But, we got to take a whole lot more responsibility ourselves. Is that not what this last year has taught us? That we do have to take a great lot of self-responsibility medicine as well? Wouldn't that be a good prescription? William Williams, there are a million better reasons to attack Congress than a pony trumped up election fraud. But attacking Congress is not a bad idea. Those guys should be in prison. I think we get the gist of that. Gilda's here, talking of D7s. Must be careful with the misinformation. Someone sent me an article saying that the UK citizens need a golden visa if they want to secure a permanent residency in the EU. This is a problem, absolutely, Gilda, and thank goodness you're there to work your way through it. Gilda Pereira, of course, from our partners, Migrant, and I will get to a definitive pronunciation of that, but EI Migration Services in Lisbon, helping Brits now with the D7 as well as Americans. And I know she has fans in our community. And Balajesh is from Algeria. Fantastic. Somebody in Lisbon. I have office arranged NIF number and home rental and SCF documents, so I can start procedures and apply to the D7 visa. Congratulations to you. And yeah, Gilda just wants to point out that the golden visa is not the only method of coming into Portugal. So talk to Gilda and go to a number of sources. Don't believe it's always true, but it's even more true now. Don't believe everything you read or that you hear. And a nice question from Richard D. There's a really good contrast today, isn't there, between the gritty political stuff and stuff about Portugal. What are some of the driest areas of Portugal weather-wise? Well, that will be the Alentejo and the Algarve. I think especially the Alentejo at times. It can get a bit droughty down there. And then there's an ongoing drought situation, is there not, in the Algarve and Alentejo? Just going to have a quick sip of water. Bear with me. Right, back to your comments. I hope that this isn't over. I hope the American people don't go home quietly. Get zapped is still going. I've been looking at Matt. It says Matt. I've been looking at Castelo Branco area, but aware of the summer heat and perhaps the risk of forest fires in the hot summers. It's true, Matt. There's always going to be, the upside and the downside, and that is a problem if you're looking at Castelo Branco. I think, given that Guarda is a bit colder and wetter, there is. I don't hear so much. Actually, this is one of the things that you need to research for yourself in terms of forest fires up there. But obviously, the thing about that is to make sure you're in the specific microclimate area, locality you live, that it's properly cleared. I think forest fires are something that will occur and continue to occur in Portugal, and it's like, you know, we have to develop an Australian or a Californian awareness of how to manage this situation, rather than, you know, wish it didn't exist and not be prepared for it. So that is a feature of life in some parts of Portugal, and I think will continue to be so. You just have to make sure you're properly prepared personally, and that those around you are taking a similar view, I think, wherever you end up in Portugal. Okay. 2016, Hank, some political analysis. 2016, they said, how bad could it get? 2021, did you think people storming Congress know there's a global plague going on? Yeah. Hey, Carl, says Kathleen, I'm going for a drier January, moderation in all consumption. Very good, Kathleen. I think I've done that by default. -6 degrees in Moscow this morning. A balmy -6, says Caroline. That's incredible. And I'm just scrolling through, seeing congrats, Debbie, from Hank, baby Isaac there. Okay. Come on, let's see if we can rise above and transcend the American microcosm in the comments. How do we get beyond polarity is my question to you. How is this put right? Apart from I guess it's been repeated so often now, and it's become sort of acceptable that conflict is the way out of this. You know, conflict's never the way out of a difficult situation. It might be in the short term, as in, you know, surviving. But really, it's not a very good permanent way of life to fight your way, fight other people for peace. Really? Greetings from South Florida in the USA. Looking forward to hopefully making a transition within the next year or so, God willing, to make a move to Portugal to retire. Everyone I've met from there is absolutely delightful. Susan, lovely, lovely comment there. And good luck to you on your journey from South Florida. Who else is talking here? And really, seriously, are we getting to a situation where I have to apologize for not getting to everybody? Wow, I'm going to need an assistant, aren't I? There's so many comments this morning, and people are still congratulating Debbie quite rightly about the new baby. That was some time ago. Hold on a minute. I'm going to really have to scroll through. Felicia Nonova from Philomena, and I lived in Canada for 30 years. Wow, I didn't know that, Valerie. 30 winters, 30 minus temperatures for months, 30 years of shoveling. Yet Portugal is great. And how do I get on the live feed? Catherine, Carl at expatsportugal.com. We'll get you sorted out. And join our webinar tonight. Better time for you to do that. So join the Ask Our Expats webinar. How do I get on the live feed? Catherine, what is your question? I'll put it in the comments. And if I don't see it now, I will see it later and I will get back to you. Sorry, you sound a bit stressed there. We will get to you. Peter, let us just hope this does not happen on Saturday, 24th of January, when Portugal have their presidential elections. Marcelo might be organising a mass sea swim. It's not likely here, is it? We all need to keep connected, says Owen. We do. Come on, people. We need to work together in this situation. We really do. 4 degrees in Selanova near Alcobaça. I don't know if you saw my little YouTube short about Alcobaça. Absolutely love the monastery there. Is it common, is a question, for expats to pick up shipping containers for housing? It's not common, and but it is a commonly asked question. And I just think the problem with shipping containers for housing in this hot climate is they're unbearable in both summer and the worst, best and worst of the weather conditions. So you need by the time you've insulated it, you might as well have built something different. Although in that really rather wonderful part of Lisbon, near the LG factory, there is an office complex that I was part of that is made of containers. So they are used for offices, and there's a really brilliant place in Lisbon by the river there, by the April 25th bridge, that is made entirely a little sort of startup office complex made of shipping containers. So it does happen, and obviously they're right next door to the shipping port there, but it's not ideally suited to the climate here. To answer your question there, William Williams. Catherine's still asking if she can join the live feed. Just give me a question, Catherine, and we will get back to you. Carl at expatsportugal.com. Victims of our own popularity and me asking how things are going in America this morning, it would appear. Hold on a minute. 18% of people are now taking a decent level of vitamin D, according to a recent survey. Keep it up, guys. By 2030, we may get to 90% of people ignoring Public Health England and actually getting it right. Well said, Will. Peter, hello, Peter. I miss Dennis Skinner and Tony Benn. What a shame the great orators have been replaced by sixth formers. It's true, Pete. Again, like I said, they don't make Tories like they used to. And it's true, isn't it, of New Labour as well. I'm afraid to say, or maybe we're just getting old and we're still talking. Oh gosh, I really have just got lost in the long grass of the comments. I'm so sorry this morning. Dennis, not an MP anymore. He might have even part. We're going to find out. We can't be saying things like that. I was in charge, says Peter, of critical thinking at 2 schools. And unfortunately, I don't think it is the answer. Our education system in the UK is a mess. That's an interesting point, isn't it? Not sure, Peter. I can't remember all the lovely Portuguese wine I've had over the holidays, but I thought Heza made his money in magazines. That's the answer to a different question. I love it that everyone's talking to each other in the comments, but it makes my job very difficult here. So I'm scrolling down. I need people to feed me the questions that really need answering. I can vouch. I'm going to read this one. I can vouch that the hire an expert is well worth it. We had great advice from our choice yesterday. Very kind of you to say so, Peter. It was lovely to talk to you. And Jacqueline says, this is a great comment. You would like my husband, Paul Wise. Why is he available? You're trying to get rid of him, Jacqueline? Again, that's the answer to a question I didn't see, I'm sure. And the political intrigue. This is the most. I mean, it serves me right for inviting political analysis in America. Look at it. The driest interior, the driest part of Portugal is the Alentejo interior, says Anna, agreeing with me there. And hearing some stories in the media about resident expats coming back to Portugal and having their passport stamped, which is causing problems. That's like the old days, isn't it? Getting your passport stamped. Oh my goodness, get zapped. You're making life difficult for me this morning. Important. There we go. This is important and useful stuff. Important to clear the dry, dead stuff underneath your trees surrounding your property in Portugal to help suppress fire danger. We can all do our bit. Absolutely, Kathleen. Well said. I think the Portuguese government says, Mark, has started that residency document nullifies an erroneous stamp in the passport. So the controversy continues there as well. Everything, like I said earlier on, changes day by day, doesn't it? We're responding to life in real time. Get used to it, maybe. Do it. Thank you, Hank, telling me I'm doing a great job. Yes, let's work together to get along. It's not constructive to argue your personal US politics on a Portuguese expat site. To be fair, Kathleen, I did ask for it in a way, but I'm also asking for, how we rise above this, this terrible polarity that's gripping the world and giving people a reason to vent their unresolved childhood traumas. That's how I see it anyway. I think I've scrolled through there, and I think we have just about certainly got to the end of the show and gone beyond it. What I'm concerned about, Marcos, this is useful to say. Madeira, and I never know how the Madeira Islands have the best warm weather to spend the time in that particular zone of Portugal. So best warm weather in Madeira, says Marcos Felbon. But I'm really concerned about it's Catherine, isn't it? And Catherine Nichols, how do you do it? So Carl at expatsportugal.com. Drop me a line, Catherine. We'll get that sorted out for you. I couldn't see what your question was, so I can't answer it right here, right now. But I'll make sure we get you sorted out there. Carl at expatsportugal.com. And that's for anyone else who wants to make contact with me this morning or any other time of day for that matter. So thank you so much. Unresolved childhood seriously, Hank, the comments this morning are off the scale, off the charts. Portuguese love a good rubber stamp. It's true though, as you'll discover, and also the embossing stamp at the freguesia is pretty impressive as well. When you see that coming down on your atestados. Yes, just as a parting thought here, I really invite people to have a look at their emotional political views, or any part of their life they're being emotional and upset. I would say it does link to unresolved childhood trauma, And I maintain as well that childhood is traumatic. You know, we come into the world as beautiful little baby Isaac has done, and it's difficult. It's difficult, isn't it, to become a human being? And you would argue, especially difficult at the moment, in these crazy times we live in. And so you survive as a child, don't you? And you come up with some strategies for surviving. As I didn't expect to be saying this today, bear with me. And you come up with strategies to cope with being a child. And that's really good. And that's nature at work, isn't it? It's the survival strategy, the survival instinct. And you create thought patterns like, it's not safe in that situation to do that, so I'll create a survival strategy, which is this. And the problem of that, of course, is if you don't process it when you so-called grow up, you still use that strategy in any other situation you might find yourself in. So what we find is, and Donald Trump might be a good example of this, is that we find that inside a 70-year-old body, a 60-year-old body, a 50-year-old body is a 5-year-old operating a survival strategy that they developed 65 years ago and haven't done enough self-reflection, therapy, or haven't got good enough mates who tell them, you know what, that thing you do, it's nonsense, and you want to take a look at that, and we love you and we will help you. So I didn't expect to be saying that today, but honestly, to me, that is that's what's behind all of this, and these emotional outbursts and outpourings at the moment. It's all coming from our unresolved stuff as kids in our former years, on our formative years, and that's where to look. Why do you react in the way you do? It's probably something to do with the semi-hard wiring of your childhood, and that's why I say semi-hard, because, and I didn't expect to be saying that phrase either this early in the morning, but it's not hardwired. It can be rewired, and that is what we're called to do, I think, at the moment. Rewire society and rewire ourselves. And there, folks, I will leave it. Jerry, hello, Jerry. Great job this morning, Carl. Coffee ready. Thank you, Jerry. See you tonight for Ask Our Expats. Average American is struggling mightily right now to yes, and we do. This is what I'm saying. We do have to come to the aid of our brothers and sisters and put these ridiculous emotional, political differences to one side. And I know it's easier said than done, and that's why I'm saying it. and now disappearing, having left that there with you, Kathleen. You're dealing well. You're doing well dealing with the comments today. Hats off. Thank you so much. It's going to be headphones off for me in just a moment. Doreen Reyes, gun crazed deplorables will not go away. Sadly, my friend's daughter, seeing Congress members hiding on the floor, said now they know how kids feel in school when there's a live shooter. Yes, Doreen, this is all the stuff, isn't it, that we have in some way as humanity to put behind us. And, you know, I really believe and hope that we can rise above this. And like I said earlier on, these times could possibly be the making of us as we prove that, and as we are a little bit more charitable, and it's towards each other. But it starts at home. Be charitable towards yourself, and like I say, deal with those things where there is still a 5-year-old running your mindset. And since I've gone into a little bit of psychotherapeutic stuff, Donald Trump has narcissistic personality disorder, unfortunately not very easy to change through therapy. We can't write anyone off though, can we, Martin Jeffs? But maybe we shouldn't have them in high positions of office. But then again, we shouldn't have high positions of political office so attractive to personalities of that kind. Take care, be safe everyone, stay healthy. A beautiful finishing note there from Hank over there in California. I'll extend that to everybody. Take care, folks. Be safe, everyone. Stay healthy. Let's process our disbelief and our difficulties and come out of it the other side, better people and behaving better towards each other. Take care. See you tonight at the Ask Our Expats webinar or at the Wine Club. There's another solution, or back in the morning. Take care and bye for now. I think I'm going to roll this for you. Here we go.